What is up, guys? Welcome back to my reaction channel. It's your boy Chris, and today we're gonna be reacting to French Revolution Part 1 by Oversimplified. Yeah, I know. This video should have come first before Napoleonic War, but hey, I just wanna say, like I said before in the Napoleonic War, I don't know anything about French history, so I can't really add that much in this video. Because all I know is that a lot of heads rolled down back then, you know what I'm saying? It seems that French people like cutting heads, you know? So yeah, anyways, we've reached 150 subs, guys. Thank you all for supporting the channel. Thank you all for subscribing. Y'all know how it is, guys. I love you so much, you know what I'm saying? Anyways, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, watching this video, it's common sense, bro. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell button for post notifications, and if you have any suggestions, don't be shy. Come on, guys, comment down below. I'm gonna look into it, you know what I'm saying? But hey, this fucking intro has been taking so long, you know what I'm saying?
This video was made possible by NordVPN. Get protected by clicking the link below and get an amazing 75% off. That's only $2.99 per month with an additional month free for a limited time. Also, new French Revolution merch available now in the store, including King Louis and Marie Antoinette character pins, complete with detachable heads, just like the real thing.
What the fuck?
So I said to the Marquis de la Fayette, "What do you think I am? Some dirty peasant? I've never worked a day in my life." Wow, that Marie Antoinette sure is pretty. Sure is. Wouldn't want to be Prince Louis, though. That's going to be a lot of responsibility when he becomes king, especially since France is in financial ruin. Quite. Thank you one and all for attending the royal marriage of my grandson, the future King of France, to the Archduchess of Austria. Now for the very awkward yet historically accurate part of the ceremony, where we all watch him get into bed
Marie
together.
Antoinette was a Dutch? Oh, I mean, was from Austria?
All right, now that's out of the way. Let's lead the royal couple to it. You better give us an heir, you fat, ill-bred boy. Nighty-night.
What the fuck?
That's going to be a lot of responsibility. France is in financial ruin. You fat, ill-bred boy. Quite. That's
Bro,
gonna
the
be a
pressure
lot of
is mounting up
responsibility.
on him,
France
okay.
is in financial ruin. You fat, ill-bred boy. That's going to be a lot of responsibility. Oh, great. He's a freaking weirdo.
Bro. The fuck?
France,
Wait
the
to
most
start the
prosperous,
intro, bro.
cultured, and beautiful nation in the world, as it had been for centuries. An exquisite social culture, with the king and the upper classes throwing crazy parties every night, enjoying high living and fine dining. Who cares that they were only able to do so off the backs of the hard-working, starving poor? What are they going to do?
Shit.
Revolt?
Yeah,
They're
I
only
remember
80%
the
of the
Napoleonic
population.
War.
No. Life in France is great.
They always like
What's
party.
that, France? You want to go to war with Britain and increase your power? Go for it, little buddy. You do you. And you lost. Now you're in severe financial debt. We have no money. What do? Should we stop partying? Heck no. Party harder. That's okay.
What?
The peasantry will pick up the slack. They were created by God to do all the work, and you were created to reap all the benefits and party hard. That's just how society works,
bad,
and
bro.
we've all
That's
just
bad.
accepted it
The
for
fuck?
centuries. Why? Why what? Why do the nobility get to be all rich and stuff? Just because they were born into it? And the rest of us schmucks just have to accept that? Hell, why do we even need a king? Who decided that? It all just seems very unfair and unequal, and I
So
am starting to question
is
it.
this what
Wow, that's very enlightening.
why the French love cutting heads?
And so began the Age of Enlightenment. Great philosophical thinkers across France and beyond began to question whether this beautiful nation was really all that beautiful after all. Hey, Prince Louis, bad news. Your grandpop died of smallpox this morning, which means good news, you're now the king. So just to sum up,
shit.
France is in severe financial debt, and the angry populace are beginning to question how necessary you are. But hey, I believe in you, champ. You got this. Maybe.
No.
Oh, no. Prince Louis Capet became King Louis XVI in May 1774. He was a notoriously weak man, and he knew it. He barely had the wisdom to rule a nation, never mind one in crisis, and
So
he
he
was
was
easily
forced into
manipulated by
position.
those around him. One of his
Okay.
first acts was to try to get revenge on the British by financing their American colony's revolution. Hey, we're an independent nation now. That was real swell of you, Louis. Couldn't have done it without you. Glad I could help. So hey, about all that money we lent you, when can we get that back? Yep, you're a great guy. I'll never forget what you've done for us. Real glad I could help, friend, but about that money, gotta go now, chum. Best of...
Boss, I remember the British side, you know what I'm saying? When the Brits was the American the American Revolution, is that it? Yeah, it's American Revolution, right? Shit, they didn't pay British to you Americans, bro. What the fuck? Yo, oh shit.
No. And now France was in even more debt. France's poor, suffering under the strain of economic ruin, watched as the nobility continued to live as though nothing was wrong. In particular, they grew increasingly disdainful of the Queen, Marie Antoinette, as she continued to spend all of France's money on her own luxurious lifestyle and fashion.
Yeah,
while
that's
the
what
peasants were breaking their
that's what
backs
I
in
heard,
the fields,
though.
she was
You know what
walking
I'm
around
saying?
like, hey, my
She was
hair is a boat.
living lavishly.
I'm not making that up. Her hair really was a boat. And her lavish spending earned her
Fucking
the
hell.
nickname Madame Deficit. And speaking of the Queen, there was also a long-standing scandal around the
Madame
fact that the king
Deficit.
took a very long time to boink her, and the working classes of Paris began ridiculing the royal couple with lewd pamphlets depicting the Queen as a court thought,
Bro,
and the king as a
that's
wuss,
bad,
unable
bro.
to fulfill
What the
his
fuck?
marital duty. Respect for the monarchy was at an all-time low, as France's finances were spiraling out of control, and the king and his aides really only had one solution to the crisis: tax the poor. Tax the poor. We could do a sexy calendar shoot.
No, you
I
could have.
mean, tax the poor. And so it was. The poor, who were already struggling to make ends meet, found themselves being taxed from every direction. Hey, I'm the royal tax collector. Looks like you've yet to pay your income
No
tax,
wonder the
head
revolution,
tax. By
like,
the way, how many windows you got in your house
Started
here?
so fast, you know what I'm saying?
Three?
It
Ooh,
spread so
yep,
fast
there's
in
gonna be a tax
France.
for that.
You
Hey,
know,
your
that's
local
why a
priesthood,
lot of
have you paid your
countries
church
hate
tithe yet?
France
Well, at
back
least
then.
this one is
Because
going
a
to
lot
the
of
good work
countries
God.
is monarchy.
Sure.
So this is why, you know what I'm saying?
I think this year God wants me to buy a new swimming pool. Hey, private tax collector here. Oh,
Oh,
and I brought some
shit.
goons with me. Just a few quick questions. How much salt did you buy this year? About 7 kilos, I think? Yeah, okay, there's gonna be a tax for that. Oh, what's that over there? And that's extra salt I held over from last year, so I wouldn't have to buy as much this year. Oh, yeah, there's a tax for that. And what are you doing with all
What?
this salt? Well, obviously cooking. Mm-hmm. On the table. Yep. And preserving fish and meat. Oh no. Yep. And there's a tax for that. Hey, how old is he? He's 9. And so he's purchased
The
his required
fuck?
amount of salt for this year, right? What? No, he's 9. Uh-oh. Sorry, little Timmy. Looks like I'm gonna have to tax you for that.
Bro,
Yep.
why?
Salty.
Bro.
There's gonna be a tax for that.
No one wants
and
to pay
that's not all.
taxes, you know
A
what I'm
huge portion
saying?
of
That's the
peasants'
reason
harvest had to
why
be
they
given
pay
up.
tax,
And there was
because
also
of
the labor
IRS,
tax,
you know what
where
I'm
peasants
saying?
were required to work a certain number of
Like-
days for their local lord without pay. Obviously, people weren't too happy with these taxation policies, and the aggressive nature of these private tax farmers
Yeah.
sometimes even escalated to violence. In particular, though, the people really hated how inconsistent the taxation rules were across the nation, and also the fact that the first two estates often had to pay very little, if any, tax at all. And so,
Oh,
the
shit.
anger
So
continued
they're not
to
paying
grow.
tax.
France had a population that was just about ready to explode. What could push them over the edge? How about a touch of natural disaster? A series of harsh summers and winters left the peasants' harvests in ruin, meaning they had no food
Bro,
or money,
that's
and the
bad.
cost of bread skyrocketed.
I'm sorry
of course, the
that I'm
upper classes
laughing
had
at this,
massive
but
stocks of grain and
it's
wheat, so they were
ridiculous.
virtually untouched by this new crisis. But now the poor really were starving, and they began to riot. Women took to the streets. Bakeries were raided, and bakers suspected of keeping bread for themselves were sometimes even hanged. Wow, this is really getting out of control.
Oh
Your
shit.
Majesty, we need some decisive action. You need to step up
Pause.
and...
Guys, you know it's bad, you know, it's bad when people started going outside burning things, you know what I'm saying? That's when you know you fucked up big time and you need to fix it. Or else you're gonna be the one who's sitting there being hanged, you know what I'm saying? So, but this person seems like they don't even have common sense to fix.
Okay,
Fucking
I've got
problem.
this. I know. I'll summon the estate's general, and they'll decide what to do. You really are a fat, ill-bred boy. The estate's general was the closest thing France had to a government apart from the king. It was a purely advisory body
Bro,
and was rarely
fucking
summoned. In
wuss.
fact, it hadn't been summoned for 175 years prior to this. But with France in a severe crisis, the king felt the
It's
time
really
was
that
right to call on the
kind of
government to
person,
help.
I mean,
The Estates
that
General
weak,
was made up of representatives from the three estates, that is, the clergy, the nobility, and everybody else. Okay, thanks for coming,
Okay.
everyone. The first order of business is regarding the clergy and nobility. You all get brand new Porsches. You get a Porsche, and you get a Porsche, and you get a Porsche. Everybody gets a Porsche. And now into the second order of business. France is completely out of money. Like, it's never been this bad before. Anyone got any ideas? How about we all get Lamborghinis next time? The king decided that in order to make a decision, they had to come up with a voting system. Okay, the clergy. You have a population of 130,000, so you'll get one vote. The nobility. You have a population of 350,000, so you'll also get one vote. And the third estate. You have a population of 27 million people and make up 98% of the population. Very impressive. You'll get
Oh shit, that's a lot of people.
one vote. The third estate were obviously pretty unhappy with this system because they
One
kept on
votes.
finding that this would happen. We propose to
What?
raise taxes on the third estate. All in favor? All opposed? 2-1. Taxes will be raised on the third estate. We propose a motion that says the first two estates are a bunch of poo-poo heads. All in favor? All opposed? 2-1. It's official. We are not poo-poo heads. The third estate realized
that's
that
bad.
any attempt at reform would be
That's
outvoted by
bad.
the two upper estates, and they thought that was kind of lame.
Yeah,
So they
exactly.
decided that since they were 98% of the population, they
They're
could
gonna
go off
get
to form their
outvoted.
own government, make their own laws, and take over the running of the country. And so, the National Assembly was born. The third estate was now in control,
Bro, that's
and there
big
was
brain
nothing
move
the
right
king
now.
could do to stop. Haha! I've locked you all out of your
Yo,
building.
that's
What are you
bigger.
gonna do about it?
Okay.
We'll probably go find a different building that isn't locked. Ow, no! The National Assembly
Exactly.
did find another unlocked building, just down the road, an indoor tennis court, where on the 20th of June 1789, they all took...
Pause. You know, I'm not gonna pause a lot, okay? Trying to understand, but seems that the king is not trying to fix the problem. You know, he's dodging, just bobbing, weaving like this, instead of like fixing the problem head on. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people is like not exactly pleased on what he's doing.
In 1789, they all took the tennis court
It's
oath,
like a
pledging
puppet.
to continue meeting until the king finally gave in to their demands for more equality and economic reform. This new National Assembly included many of the
Tennis
most
court oath.
educated members of the Third Estate, including two young lawyers by the names of Maximilien Robespierre and Georges Danton. Some members of the first two estates even joined their cause. Some of these men formed a
Robespierre.
radical
Sounds
new
familiar.
political party called the Jacobin Club and quickly became leading figures.
Robespierre.
While many members of the Third Estate simply wanted more
Jacobin.
equality, a
Yo,
growing
it
number in
sounds
this
familiar
Jacobin
to me.
faction would begin
I
calling
heard
for
of it,
something
you
even
know, but
crazier, the removal of the king
I can't
entirely.
remember.
And this is
Somewhere,
where fear
somewhere.
began to take hold. With such a volatile situation developing, everyone was afraid of something. The king feared his position was under threat, and he called in the military to take position around Paris. The Third Estate heard rumor of the gathering military force,
Oh, that's
and
not
they feared
good.
the king was planning to round them up and arrest them. Maybe he'd even execute them. It also didn't help that the king had just dismissed France's popular finance minister, who had been trying to make reforms himself. It seemed the king was done negotiating. Fear, left unchecked, often boils over into anger, and anger detonates with violence.
Yeah.
The angry people of Paris, after centuries of cruel inequality, harsh oppression, even starvation, fearful of having their new movement for reform demolished so soon, decided that it was now or never to take action. Screw reform. They decided they'd do one better. How about revolution? The people of Paris, believing the French military was preparing to attack, decided they should arm
Revolution,
themselves. The
bro.
National
Sounds
Assembly announced the
good.
creation of a bourgeois militia,
Bro.
the National Guard, and immediately many troops from the French
That's
military
it, guys.
defected over to the revolutionary side. In the early hours of July 14,
Yeah.
1789, a large crowd stormed and raided the Hotel des Invalides, a military hospital where they were able to secure a large number of rifles. The bad news was they weren't able to find any gunpowder for their new
Oh,
weapons.
shit.
The good news was they knew exactly where to get some. A prison fortress and a symbol
Where
of
to
royal
get it,
tyranny
you know?
towering over Paris, the Bastille. Mid-morning, the crowd gathered around the Bastille and demanded that the man in charge, Governor Delaunay, surrender the prison and hand over the gunpowder. Obviously, Governor Delaunay was like, no way. so he stalled for time by inviting a few members of the crowd in for negotiations. The crowd, still waiting outside, quickly became impatient, and before long, they stormed the fortress, taking on the French troops
Oh, shit.
inside. Your Majesty, we've received word that the people have surrounded the Bastille. Governor Delaunay will hold them off. No need to
Yeah,
worry.
that's
Actually, Your
that's
Majesty,
bad.
it appears the crowd
That's
is now
bad.
headed away
If
from
you
the
own,
Bastille.
if you
see?
if you
What did I tell you?
just fixed
Clearly,
it,
Governor
you know what I'm
Delaunay has
saying?
defeated them and has them on the run. No need to worry. Your Majesty, isn't that
No,
Governor
he
Delaunay's
got
head on the
caught.
pike? Well,
Oh, he's
clearly,
dead, bro.
Governor Delaunay has taken on the form of a bodiless pikehead deity, and the people are so enamored with him, they're parading him around the city. No need to worry at all.
Damn.
When the National Assembly heard about the violence that had taken place, they had two options. Either one, they denounce it and try to carry on the revolution using peaceful means, or two, they say, damn, you stuck his head on a pike? That's pretty hardcore. And we
That's
love
cool.
it. Incidentally, they went with option number 2. Some historians believe this reaction paved the way for the utter violence and
They're
bloodshed that would
fueling
become
it.
the legacy of the French Revolution. This widespread acceptance
exactly.
of violence during the revolution is also largely credited to the writings of a certain Jean-Paul Marat, a man of science with a horrible skin
Jean-Paul.
condition that kept him confined to a bathtub. He began writing a radical newspaper he affectionately named The Friend of the People. Citizens of
Pause. You see, if you condoning people from doing bad shit, they're gonna think it's okay because there's no repercussion to it, no punishment to it. So they're gonna do it more and more and more, and it's going to get intense. It's only going to get worse after that shit. So that's a bad move right there. You could have like shouldn't have condoned that shit.
Citizens of France, be very afraid. Given the chance, the king and the nobility won't hesitate
Dude,
to
bro.
massacre us all. The solution is simple. Execute them.
Oh,
Kill
shit.
every last
Good
one of them.
tactics.
Cut off 1,000 heads. And if that's not enough, cut off 1,000 more. Oh, hey, Mr. Squeaky. What are you doing down there? You're so cute. Aw, I love you too, Mr.
Yo,
Squeaky.
what?
Mwah. Now, where was I? Oh, yeah. Kill them all. It became one of the most popular publications in Paris during the revolution
Yikes.
and succeeded in spreading ever-increasing fear and anger among the people. In August, leaders of the National Assembly, with help from a certain Thomas Jefferson,
that
adopted
guy
the
got a
Declaration of the
problem, you
Rights
know
of
what I'm
Man
saying?
and of the
He's-
Citizen,
it's
an
not-
incredible document
not right
that
there.
guaranteed liberty and equal rights to all men. And when I say men, I mean men. Despite its glaring shortcomings in gender equality, the massively influential declaration would go
Okay.
on to inspire the struggle for liberty and equality across the
Men.
planet for centuries. However, back in France, the vast majority of the people weren't really so concerned with enlightened ideas of equality as much as they were concerned with the fact that they were still starving. Bread was still expensive as hell and hard to come by.
Yeah.
The people felt that one reason nothing had been done yet about the crisis was because the king simply couldn't see the problem. He lived in Versailles, a full 20 kilometers southwest of Paris, and as a result, lived in comfort, separated from his dirty, stinking subjects. On October 5th, a crowd of women, 7,000 strong, decided they'd do something unprecedented. They decided they'd remove that separation and confront the king directly. The women marched all the way to the king's palace in Versailles.
Oh, shit,
Along the
bro.
way, the crowd
Okay,
continued to grow
that's-
into the
that's
tens
okay,
of
bro.
thousands. And when they arrived, they demanded an audience with the king. What are those things outside the palace? They're poor people, your majesty. That's poor people?
This
They
guy,
say
bro.
they're hungry. Hungry? Then let them eat cake. Wow.
Bro.
See, this is the exact BS
Wow.
that led to this whole mess in the first place. You're so out of touch. They're writhing around in the filth, breaking their back to barely scrape
Yeah.
by, and they come to you demanding just the basic ability to feed themselves, and you think a slice of cake will sort them out? Well, then let them eat Taco Bell Crunchwrap Supreme. Wow. They're not that desperate. Members of the crowd actually managed to break into the palace with the intention of killing the queen, who narrowly escaped through a secret passage
Oh,
in her
shit.
bedroom.
Okay.
The enraged mob killed several members of the royal guard and raised their heads on pikes, which, if you haven't noticed yet, is something they were quite fond of doing. The king had no
Yeah.
choice but to come out and talk to the
Becoming
crowd. He
popular,
agreed
you
to
know?
accept his new position,
You know what I'm
sharing
saying?
power with the revolutionary government, and to return to Paris
Bro,
with
what's
the
with
crowd,
you guys?
removing
You
the
French
separation
people,
between
what's with
king
you guys?
and
It's
subject.
the
King Louis
head
had
in
a
the
problem
pike
with
thing.
people
What the hell?
constantly raiding his palace. But one thing he didn't have a problem with was people raiding his computer, because he used NordVPN. If,
Yo
like
guys,
me, you don't like
this ad,
hackers
you
stealing
know what
your
I'm
data,
saying?
password,
Like always,
bank deets,
skip
and
this one if you
girlfriend,
want.
then
I'm
you
gonna
need to
watch
check
it.
out
Support
NordVPN.
the
With over
Oversimplified
5,000
channel.
servers in 60 countries, it allows you to surf the net anonymously and safely with no personal data logging. It's super easy to use. You can take a trip to a server in Japan with just a click of a button. And while you're there, why not check
Bro,
out some sweet Japanese Netflix? Or
the
maybe
the
you want to
pa-
watch
the
a
head
certain
pipe
Oversimplified
thing, you
video
know,
that for some reason
why
has
is
been
it
blocked in your country. Well,
so
with
popular
NordVPN,
in France
you can.
back then?
NordVPN gives you
That's
access
the
to super
answer.
fast servers and
I
much
guess they're
more. And
condoning
if you're
it.
not happy with it, it comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Get NordVPN now by clicking the link
It's only
below,
gotta get worse,
nordvpn.com
you know.
/oversimplified, and get an amazing 75% off. That's only $2.99 per month with an additional month free for a limited time. And you'll also be helping to support my
Alright.
channel. So again, that's
Yo.
nordvpn.com /oversimplified.
Let's get back to it. What? Yo guys. Never mind. Yo guys, that is French Revolution Part 1 by Oversimplified, you know what I'm saying? They've got a bad king, you know, they've got a bad idiot king as a leader, you know what I'm saying? Instead of fixing the goddamn thing, they're continuously adding tax over tax over tax to people, expecting they're not going to revolt. You know, instead of fixing shit, there's like bob and weave like that. You know what I'm saying? Also, the execution, bro. The head pipe thing. You know what I'm saying? They're putting heads in the pipe. Who the hell invented that shit? You know what I'm saying? Who the hell invented that shit? Like, it seems that Oversimplified didn't say who invented it, but it became popular in France. You know, it's becoming popular because a lot of people, especially the Jacobins, right? They're condoning it. You know what I'm saying? Instead of saying, nah, shit, bro, you fucked up big time. You shouldn't have done that. No. Instead, they go to option 2. They would be like, yo, that's cool. You should do it more. You know what I'm saying? Instead of they're condoning it, which is bad, bro. It's just going to heighten up the shit, the violence. So yeah. Also, France have that Jean Paul Rat or something, whatever. That guy he's a bad news. Alright, he's a bad news. He got a problem. He got a problem in the head. He hates the nobility so much that he wants them dead. You know what I'm saying? Everyone dead. And it's not a problem if he's just keeping it to himself, but if he's writing a paper back then and spreading it to people, yeah, that's a big problem. So yeah, overall, so fucked up. It's turning into shit right now. Anyways, we're gonna watch the part 2 soon, you know what I'm saying? Before we get into it, like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell button for post notifications. If you have any suggestions, comment down below.